I'm going to test out a few of the best soul collecting methods in the new Fabric update and show you guys the fastest way to get the new giant pal souls. Let's go guys, so everyone is scrambling right now to get pal souls, especially the new giant pal souls, which are really incredibly useful. If you rank up your pals with the little star method using dog coins or with the potions, it kind of helps and gives you maybe an extra like 10% attack or something similar to that. But the pal soul method is actually crazy how much it gives you and how much it makes your pals stronger. I was really surprised by how good this is now since I haven't upgraded my pals in a while, and it is insane how much they are making it easier to level up your pals, attack and defense and work and everything, and I'm just really surprised how good this is still. So we're going to get into the methods in a second, but I just really want to show you guys how you can level up your pals by 60% on their attributes, which is really good, and it's even useful for ranking up their work abilities if they are like base pals, or of course just like ranking up their normal attack if they're your main pals that you use to fight bosses and things like that. So to get straight into it, the fastest way to get big souls while just AFKing in your base is the same as it was the last update, and that is breeding Anubises. We're going to go over some other methods too for lower level players who don't have Anubises, but right now if you're a super high level, this is still the best way to do it even from last update. Now of course breeding 2 Anubises will give you another one in the large egg it drops, and an Anubis has a 100% chance to give you a big soul, making it the best pal for souls. Now the other method, which is a lot easier for newer and lower level players, is abusing the pal Nox. Nox spawns in these areas and drops small pal souls, which can be upgraded into larger souls, and is just probably the best way to get them from lower level players. You guys can skip this part if you already know how the crusher works, but I just wanted to explain it real quick since I've seen a bunch of other people inefficiently grinding souls and not even using it. The crusher is used only to make fiber and palladium fragments before, but now in one of the updates a few months ago they made it so you can exchange pal souls in here for the other smalls, bigger or smaller. I'm sure most of you guys already know that, but like I've said so many times before, Palworld doesn't really tell you what goes on in the update sometimes, and not everyone checks patch notes. I don't even check the patch notes, so sometimes it's a little hard to notice new things, and you can even miss them for like months at a time. I'm still discovering new stuff that was added like 3 updates ago, and I didn't even know they added them. But like I was saying about the Nox and catching them, there is even one more new thing that you can do to make this even more efficient and get about 10 times as many souls as you usually would. But first things first, changing these settings makes it a lot easier to find and capture the Nox. Changing your daytime multiplier to the highest it will go and changing your nighttime multiplier down to the lowest will make it so nighttime lasts pretty much forever and daytime is like 20 seconds, super duper fast. You won't even notice it. Usually I play on the reverse of these settings. I have daytime take forever and nighttime is just like 1 second. It just goes in and out because I don't really like playing in the nighttime. It makes it impossible to see. But since Nox only spawns at nighttime, obviously these settings will help a lot, and Nox will just be spawning 24/7 without daytime. I'm going to make sure to also turn the pal multiplier up, which will make 3 times as many Nox spawn per usual. It will make 3 times of every other pal spawn too, so you might lag a tiny bit, but it's definitely worth to turn it up. They normally spawn in like groups anyway, so you can find large groups of them, which will drop a bunch of small souls and just get you a whole bunch per hour. I got like 100 per hour doing this. Before I tell you guys about the next pal that's OP to get souls, remember I am placing down the furnace for every single subscriber we get. I have a few thousand more to place, so if you want to be a part of my base forever, go ahead and sub up if you want. Now back to what I was saying about the new update, it added a new pal called Nightmare, which can be found pretty much anywhere on the new island in the Fabric update, and it has a crazy unique partner ability. Its ability makes it so if it's fighting with you, it drops more souls from pals like Nox. Now if you rank it up all the way too, it actually drops double the amount of souls. You can get 2 souls for every 1 you're supposed to get normally. So if Anubis, for example, drops a 1 large soul, you're going to get 2 if you're fighting with the new Nightmare pal. Now remember, it needs to be fighting with you, which means it needs to be out, not just in your inventory for this pal ability to actually work. So make sure you're actually fighting with it and not just have it in your party. Theoretically, if you are a high enough level, the fastest way to grind souls would be to combine these 2 methods with hunting Nox while your Anubis eggs are incubating and collecting souls with both methods at the same time. Now back to Anubis, we are going to test out the new Nightmare and see how many Pal souls we can get by killing Anubis normally and how much we get using the new Pal. As you can see, killing / capturing Anubis normally only gives us 1 Pal soul, but when we capture Anubis with Nightmare out, we get double that. We also need to go home and butcher Anubis, giving us another Pal soul, which would be 3 times the amount of souls we get with the same amount of work. Remember, always capture the Pals instead of just straight up killing them, because when we capture them, we have a chance to go back to our base and butcher them, and if we just kill them, we obviously can't butcher them. I'm still using the increased Pal spawn rates, so technically I'm getting 9 times the amount of Pal souls in the same amount of time you would only get a normal amount using these strats. Now the question I actually don't have the answer to right now, which we're going to experiment a little bit later on, is if the Nightmare ability actually works with butchering the Pal, so if it will give us double the amount of souls if we butcher the Pal with Nightmare out. I'm almost positive it doesn't work with the automatic butchering, but we're going to try and see if the manual butchering also works or if it also doesn't work. This all might sound a little bit kind of confusing if you don't really know what's going on with like butchering and capturing Pals and everything. But to sum it up really quickly, capturing the Anubis with the Pal Nightmare fighting with you, which means it's out while you capture it, you will get an extra Pal soul, and then butchering it back at your base will give you another extra Pal soul. I'm going to try butchering it with the knife first, and remember 1 Pal soul is guaranteed from an Anubis, but anything more than that is extra due to the Nightmare. It looks like it doesn't work with the knife, which is a little bit disappointing. I thought it kind of would work, so it still only gives us 1 Pal soul if we butcher it with the Nightmare out. I even tried having it out in the Pal box or like in my party, but not actually out, to see if any of those methods will work, but it doesn't look like there is a way to get any extra Pal souls from butchering, even if you have Nightmare, which is kind of annoying because I would think that would work, but apparently not. But still, getting 1 more per Anubis is still pretty good, even without the Nightmare buff affecting it. But I mean, I don't know, I kind of don't agree with that, and I think it still should work. I tried it on the automatic butchering machine also, and it still didn't work, so that confirms it. Both methods do not give you extra Pal souls if you butcher it with Nightmare. If you guys know how to get any extra Pal souls or how to let your Pal abilities work while butchering, let me know in the comments. I have a few glitches I could probably try out, and I'll probably make a video on that in the future, so I'm still going to experiment with it and try and get as many Pal souls as we can. They're incubating all the eggs from my Anubis earlier though. I want to see how many they would drop, and they ended up giving me about an extra 15, which is still really good for the amount of time I spent. By the way, have you guys used this new machine they added in the last update? You only get it at level 60, so I can see why if you guys haven't used it yet, because it is a long grind to get to level 50, but it's still a really cool machine that they added, and I think the idea is really cool, and it incubates like 10 eggs at the same time and looks really cool in your base. I wish they would lower the level a little bit, because level 60 to get this is kind of crazy. So after butchering all of the Anubis eggs I got from earlier, I got an extra 15 Pal souls, and this only took about 45 minutes of AFKing to get all these eggs, so that is really good time management, especially if you're catching Nox the entire time doing this with the Nightmare out. You would get like a lot of souls. I don't know how much it would be with the math exactly, but you could probably get up to like 25 or 30 large Pal souls per hour, which is a lot faster than any other method. The 15 large Pal souls I got during that though are equivalent to 30 medium Pal souls, or about 60 small Pal souls, and you get 1 giant Pal soul for every 2 large souls, so it is about 7 giant Pal souls per hour with just 1 method, so you can probably get double that if you do 2 methods, which is 14 giant Pal souls, which will rank your Pals up 60% stronger, which trust me is a lot. Overall though, it is up to you which method you want to use to get Pal souls, and a combination of breeding Anubis, hunting Nox, and using the new Pal Nightmare should be able to get hundreds of small Pal souls per hour, especially if you use the correct settings I showed earlier to help. Now feel free to sub up if you guys want a furnace in my base, and I've uploaded some other videos on the new Daybreak update, so you can check those out if you want, including 15 overpowered tips and glitches, and I'm planning to upload even more glitches and more tips and new guides and things like that on the new update in the future, so consider subbing up if you want, and you get a furnace out of it too.